What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mohammad Tantawi and I'm so glad you decided to join me. As always, I appreciate it. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a hobby of mine. One of my favorite hobbies is to begin a journey, not knowing where it's going to end up and not knowing, what I'm going to find. This gives me the ability to truly live in the moment and just take things step by step, literally as I go step by step. The first thing I came across looked like to be an abandoned building, but it had graffiti all over it. Art is something that is globally appreciated. However, graffiti comes across with a lower prestige, especially socially. Something you'd expect, the hoodlums of the neighborhood to be involved in. Personally, to me, this art is genius. I believe it's a direct reflection of what the people are feeling, the mood of the surrounding area. The setting used to be a place where families got together, lived, laughed, celebrated Christmas. Now the building will either get remodeled or demolished into a plot of land. What was super interesting is when I actually just looked across the street. As far as I could see, there were brand new houses lined up, all looking the same, all newly built, all looked like they were designed by the same person. It kind of gave me an analogy for society. Of course, a perfect analogy doesn't exist, but it's important to look at these houses, all looking the same, all blending in with each other, as a metaphor for how society and how people act as a whole. The houses themselves look different on the inside, just like every human has their own individual traits and characteristics that make them different. However, it's impossible to actually know who you're talking to unless you know them, just like going into someone's house gives you a better picture of who they are. There's no way for me to explain to you guys how amazing that phenomenon is, but the fact that we reflect the way we act onto the houses that we build and live in is just amazing. Well, for me. Next, I found myself at a railroad track that I never knew was there. It looked so empty I thought it had been long abandoned until I realized that it's Corona time and I was supposed to be inside quarantining. After walking for a few minutes, I stumbled upon something in the woods and I thought it was a tent, but I wasn't really sure, so I got a closer look. It ended up being a group of homeless people all living out and camping out in the woods. This, you could say, was my life-changing moment of the day. Cheesy way of saying it, but it really was, and it really kind of just reminded me of something we already knew, that there are people out there who don't have anything. A man approached me and told me to get out of the railroad way and told me that things go wrong all the time and I could get hurt. I found a way out and got out of there as quick as I could. It reminded me the world was just as cruel as I remembered it being, and that actually is a pretty daunting idea if you really think about it. I walked down what I thought was 4th Avenue until I arrived at a beer barn. Apparently it was an old closed down convenience store that has been in the area. The place felt like a go-to for many of the locals, and I could actually picture the homeless people begging outside this convenience store. Realizing my bladder was full, I decided that was enough perspective for the day and I decided to head on home. There was no dramatic lesson to take away from all of this, but it's important to realize that there are lessons every day in your life that show up, you just have to notice them. For me, these were today's lessons, and tomorrow will have their own. As always, I appreciate y'all watching. Subscribe for more. Love y'all.